Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Social Ledger Report. This is JR, founder and CEO of Social Market.
Hey, my name's Leon Hitchens, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Social Market.
So we've kind of had a long week. I feel like I've been traveling a lot this month. Right now I'm in my hometown of Laredo, Texas. We kind of been keeping an eye on the markets as well and on some stories on Twitter, and we've actually put together quite a well-rounded set of stories going from companies, what they are doing now, pivoting to Bitcoin, to NFTs being kind of revived after almost 3, 4 years now. And then PNC and Coinbase partnering up together.
So we've got some Elon and crypto BitGo files to go public confidentially, and it all kind of rounds about to like altcoin season is kind of in full swing.
Yeah, totally. So here, let's actually look at the markets, how they're doing over the last week.
I'm kind of surprised that it's still like heavy Bitcoin season, but I guess altcoins, they had like a slight run up, but I believe every single time altcoin season has started, it's always been August. So like we're in the early gear up and crypto week helped push it and everything. But I'm more excited for altcoin season.
Yeah, totally. So if we look at very briefly the state of the markets, again, it looks like things are slightly more in favor of Bitcoin, which is funny because I felt like last week it was kind of signaling a altcoin bull run because we'll get to it in a bit, but NFT meme coins and meme coins were kind of pushing that in favor ever since Ethereum broke the $3,000 mark for the coin. And then fear and greed index has still been keeping around 70%. In this case, it's 72% greed. And then inflation is still right around 3%. And then if we look at the price of gold, it is sitting well above 3.3 thousand. And Invesco or the Nasdaq, this Nasdaq ETF is sitting right about 566. The Dow Jones, Dow
They're
Jones
all
ETF.
up. It's been great too.
Yeah, so apparently there's highly speculation that the S&P will reach $7,000 before the end of the year, which right now it's sitting at about 6,388. So overall, green lights everywhere, which is always good to see.
Yeah, some good green candle lights.
So one more thing we'll look at just to kind of encapsulate the state of the markets. It's the performance of Bitcoin sitting right around 120,000, or in this case, 118. And if we look at the last month performance, it's been doing pretty well. I think it's signaling that it's going to continue to go up. And earlier this month, it was at about 106, 105,000, and now it's like almost 15,000 increase
Yeah.
by the end of the month. It's kind of
It's been
fun to
holding
see.
steady, which is good. Like we're not seeing a drop, and I know everyone wants to see it to like 150. I think maybe by the end of the year it could be 150K, but holding steady at 118, 120 is a good sign.
Totally. Well, if you're tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, you might notice that the app, Social Market, right now is rendering more tokens. We've been implementing some fixes and looking into some bugs. And now you can actually filter by blockchains. So right now you can see the top 25 most popular tokens on Solana, Ethereum, Binance Chain, Avalanche, and DSO. You can use this to kind of stay ahead of the markets with the Solana ecosystem. I know that after Pump.Fun and Let's Bonk, they've actually captured at least 80% of the market on Solana as far as meme coin and token generation or minting. So if you want to see what's happening, just go check out socialmarket.tech on the Solana filter here on the table.
The Pudgy Penguins NFT one, that coin
Yes.
is just, it's been taking off and it feels like a way better like crypto punks and everything. So just seeing it up there is nice to see, especially because they've been doing a lot in the past, I would say week or two because of the Comic Con. They were doing a bunch of like activations in person. So kind of neat
Oh, it's
to see it.
Oh, that's really cool. I totally forgot Comic Con was this month. That is so fun. Honestly, yeah, this whole month they've been killing it. So one thing I'll point out here is that we're still working on some bugs for some of these tokens. Like you can't really see the price action here on Pudgy and Social Market. However, I think over the last month we've seen a capitulation or just massive price increase from like less than 2 pennies. Now it's like double that. So if you were holding Pengu, I don't know, in the last 2 months, you've probably seen your money double in the last
Oh
month.
yeah.
That's just insane.
It's for Solana being a shitcoin area, this pudgy penguins actually gives them a little bit of a positive spin to the Solana network chaos that is like pumped up on and that let's bonk.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is a good encapsulation of the markets this last few weeks. On to our
Mhm.
first story.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Coinbase
PNC.
and
Yeah.
PNC are partnering to offer crypto services. What it really is PNC is the first major like US bank to create a direct crypto trading service for its customers. I believe it's going to start with just Bitcoin. I think there might be some like other blue chip crypto ones. But it's just kind of showing like traditional finance is embracing digital assets, adoption's growing. There's a lot of rumors and speculation that JP Morgan, which is Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America are all going to offer some sort of custodial crypto account soon. And then
Interesting.
there's like a bunch of other ones out there, like Fidelity is going to allow crypto to be part of the main brokerage account so that you could do the same lending and everything. So it's really paving the way for other banks to follow. It could be like the first step to normalize crypto banking in the US, and it's the final wall between like traditional finance and crypto really like doing lockstep. Like PNC is a massive bank.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I didn't know they were worth over $400 billion. That is insane.
Yes, I think PNC also has a big Canadian presence, and their Canadian branch because Canada has a different like peer-to-peer pay system. It's like ePay or something. I forget what it's called. This could help Canada too become more crypto friendly after the Robinhood purchase of Wonder, PNC, Coinbase teaming up. This could kind of be Coinbase's way to like, shimmy into the Canadian market too without too much regulatory headache.
It's actually interesting that you mentioned Canada because I don't think that was mentioned at all when we went to consensus this last May. So maybe this has been something they've been working on for the last few weeks
Yeah,
or
we
months.
can
Who knows?
we can
PNC Financial.
listen
For
to
that,
this
we're going
real
to turn to
quick.
Leslie Picker. Morning, Leslie.
Good morning. PNC announcing that it has entered a strategic partnership with Coinbase. The arrangement will expand access to digital assets for PNC's banking clients and institutional investors, and PNC will provide banking services to Coinbase. Shares of Coinbase down about 3.7%, PNC up slightly. According to the release, the two companies will develop an initial offering that will allow clients to buy, hold, and sell cryptocurrencies. The head of Coinbase Institutional saying in the release that it will be supporting PNC's, quote, entry into the digital asset market with our leading crypto as a service platform, which provides PNC with a powerful set of tools to develop a scalable high growth business built on a foundation of uncompromising security. Kind of in this space, JP Morgan saying last month that it was partnering with Coinbase to
See,
pilot JPMD, a deposit token managed by blockchain technology. And guys, later in the hour, we'll sit down exclusively with Bill Dem.
it's all gearing up for what is coming, and every single bank, especially in the United States, is going to want this. The important part, especially for PNC, is like they've got cross-border finances more than probably other banks in North America at least. So I could see Coinbase also doing this as like a stable coin play. Like I think there's like a bunch of other stuff that will come from this partnership outside of just what they've announced right now.
I find it so interesting as well how businesses over time, as they grow, they kind of change their model. I remember at first, Coinbase, I don't know, like 10 years ago, they were barely offering, they were first established exchange here in America and probably in the world before Binance came in, I think. And they were effectively allowing mom and dad to buy crypto. Well, it was still a little bit hard, but if you knew how to use the phone, if you knew how to navigate a computer, and you could go to their website, you could buy Bitcoin with your, bank account linked in. Now, today in 2025, if you want to buy Bitcoin without using a mobile device, you can buy with an ATM. Now it seems that in the near future, you will be able to do that in a bank. You can just go to a bank teller and be like, "Hey, I want to buy some Bitcoin." Almost like if you're trading from American dollars to Canadian dollars or the euros and such.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be
Yeah,
another currency. It's just like, people are going to hold it. I think it's going to be like stocks at some point, just a part of the investment portfolio. And I think people are going to talk about, you should hold Bitcoin as, just like you should hold an ETF of like the S&P 500.
I agree. I mean, right now, Bitcoin is in the S&P 500, so that kind of tells you that in the form of Coinbase, because, Coinbase has a pretty large Bitcoin treasury, but also is a seller and provider of Bitcoin. So, yeah, crypto right now is
100%.
in everyone's 401ks.
Yes, in a small way, everybody
Yeah.
holds a little crypto. Um, okay, let's talk a little bit of a double story. It's two parts. Elon Musk is talking, crypto, that he really doesn't see any of these other cryptocurrencies as something that he wants to support. Dogecoin is like his one because of the community, and then also it's just we're going to talk about how Bitcoin is like a business strategy right now. So let's listen to Mr. Musk talk about it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not going to be promoting crypto. So if you know, at most in a joking way, but uh, if you see me pumping crypto, it's not me. you
Wow.
know, so
I know.
I mean, I do think there's some merit in Bitcoin and maybe some of the other crypto, and I sort of have a soft spot for Dogecoin because I just like dogs and memes. Um, but yeah, I don't know. On the X platform, there's pretty quickly things get community noted, or there's in the replies people say, "Hey, this is not real." So I think I don't know. We can work to try to have community notes surface faster, and also to if similar videos are popping up, that the community note gets appended to any kind of similar video. But I think.
So I think the context of all that was that you see a lot of spam, like memes and scams out there that are like promoting Elon and saying he's going to pump it and stuff. But
Oh,
really,
yeah.
in the end, the only one that he's ever truly pumped is Dogecoin. Like he's mentioned Bitcoin, he's done a few other ones, but it just kind of shows that I think a lot of people don't understand the fundamentals of crypto. There's still a lot of education to go around. Musk is a really smart man. I'm not sure why he's got like a hesitation towards crypto, but he obviously loves Dogecoin, and Dogecoin has no like
Dude, yeah.
utility. It's got no merit to what it's doing. It is just a meme coin at its core. You know, even more memey and shitty than Solana ones.
I agree. Funny enough, even the creator of Dogecoin, he is such a big time Elon supporter. And he's also like a big time shit poster on Twitter. So he kind of regrets selling a lot of his ownership on it since he created it. He had like a large amount of holdings. And I think he bought a car. I think that's the story that it goes. But in some tweets from a few years ago, I saw him regretting it around the time maybe that Elon went on SNL and Dogecoin just fucking, you know,
It flew. Oh, 100%.
yeah, it just
Well,
lost a lot of its value. Mm.
yeah. We'll see what Musk does. I also think it kind of risks the broader um credibility of crypto just because Musk is like that technologist and he's on the cutting
Yep.
edge. Tesla accepted Bitcoin for a little bit. SpaceX continues to have Bitcoin on their
Really?
holding. Yeah, they have a treasury of Bitcoin at
Wow. I
SpaceX, and
actually didn't know that.
and Tesla still holds Bitcoin too, so it kind of ties into the part of the story that you wanted to talk about, which is just that buying Bitcoin is a business strategy, and it's a hot one right now.
So I think what started it was back in 2020, Tesla was taking in Bitcoin as a payment method for people buying a car. And as of 2025, July 26th, they have about 1.24 billion, according to this Google search, which I knew it was in the billions, but I didn't know the exact amount. So it's about 11,509 Bitcoin. So that's an insane amount of money as just reservations. I actually didn't know that SpaceX was holding that, but
Yeah,
I think this no,
SpaceX
you're good.
is also the other one that really pioneered the strategy was MicroStrategy. They were
Oh
early
yeah.
movers in all of this, and a ton of mid-sized firms have really followed suit. So Tesla and MicroStrategy were really the pioneers.
Yeah, so MicroStrategy, I think, is the one that kind of signaled to everyone, hey, it's actually a valid business model, if that makes sense, because MicroStrategy was irrelevant until they started doing Bitcoin reserves as far as profitability or even in the eyes of the markets. I think they've since rebranded to just strategy or something. But
I'm not sure.
and then I think after that it was GameStop where they were all of a sudden just putting their money into Bitcoin, which who has even heard of GameStop aside from selling games? They've tried a commodity of different business models. So I made that joke a while ago saying, yeah, I feel like GameStop is just vibe businessing. This is from Wall Street Journal. The hottest business strategy this summer is buying crypto. Small companies are raising billions of dollars to buy Bitcoin and other more obscure cryptocurrencies. What could possibly go wrong? I think this is hinting to a bubble, if you ask me, because if for whatever reason these businesses that put in a lot of capital into crypto and all of a sudden they decide to pull the plug or to liquidate, that could tank the markets. I'm calling it right now. Maybe in the next 2 or a few years from now, if Bitcoin goes down, if all these cryptocurrencies go down, I highly believe a good influencing factor for that would be all these companies selling or liquidating their holdings. But this is about a 10-minute read. So the only thing I want to highlight is that some companies named here in this article, you might be paywalled by the time you look at this article, this link on the description. But Peter Thiel, who is kind of a big name in Silicon Valley, note venture capitalist Peter Thiel's founder fund, Mike Novogratz, Galaxy Digital, and other investors backed a move by a company called BitMine Immersion Technologies to raise 250 million to buy Ether. The company worth 26 million on June 27th, the Friday before its announcement. It's now worth over 2 billion. After a surge of more than 800%, Thiel, the tech billionaire, known for starting PayPal and Palantir, holds a 9.1 stake percent in the company, according to recent filing. He declined a comment. I feel like if Peter Thiel does anything in Silicon Valley, him and any other big person like Elon Musk or I guess the PayPal mafia, a lot of the times smaller companies follow suit because they think these people are just geniuses when it comes to business. So they almost try to repeat or replicate their moves. What I want to talk about is these companies that Peter Thiel backed and holds a small percentage stake of almost 10%. He is capitalizing in these companies' worth just by buying Bitcoin and crypto. So if your company is worth very little, there's a good move to make it worth something is just by buying and holding crypto.
The hedge for it too is it could give you a financial stability because a lot of times companies have cash on hand. They'll buy U.S. Treasuries and other types of bonds, Treasury
Yep.
bonds and other bonds. It's like corporate investment strategy. I could kind of see this even as like a new gold standard. Like a lot of these
Yes.
companies need to have some sort of reserve if crypto is becoming the new thing. It could be a hedge against inflation, especially if you operate in multiple markets, you're holding cash in multiple like fiat currencies. Like the dollar's getting weaker this year. Like there's so
Yep.
many like problems. The United States government's going to continue printing money, even though they, had a hot minute there saying that there's an austerity measure and, we're going to cut spending. It could go either way. Like they're definitely looking .com style bust, here. But
Yeah.
on the flip side, it could just be a gold standard kind of coming out because there's nothing backing up the dollar and there's nothing backing up many of these businesses values, like even Tesla, like their whole value is based upon being able to do self-driving. So if they can hold on to the crypto and it keeps like increasing, it also gives them a way to say, hey, we're making more money than anything just here, like especially a great GameStop that has no inherent value right now.
Yeah, I mean, game reselling is just not very profitable anymore. I feel like most people buy games on Steam or virtually. So for GameStop, it's just not a relevant business model anymore, which I'm not surprised why they're going to Bitcoin. But yeah, if you actually have access to this article, we'll leave the link to it here on the description. And the other story that I wanted to talk about, this one we have Michael Saylor from Strategy yet again. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Businesses are binging on crypto, dialing up markets risks. So this is kind of what I mentioned last time, where it is going to create potential risk for everyone who holds and buys Bitcoin or crypto. About 60 companies with no prior ties to the crypto market have embraced the so-called Bitcoin treasury strategy, popularized by Michael Saylor. Again, Michael Saylor kind of started this whole trend when they realized that, damn, this company, MicroStrategy, that was kind of dying, just by buying and holding Bitcoin and just Bitcoin appreciating over time, not only makes the company be worth more, but also they can lend it out, they can get a loan against it, and then just make money off of that and without taxes. So that's just an assumption that I have. Everyone, again, is following suit for businesses. This article here actually goes more into actual companies, a number of companies who are really embracing this, which they were 60 as a whole. But Trump Media and Technology Group, or DJT for the ticker, that's one company that's doing that. Solar Bank, a Canadian renewable energy company, is putting in more money on Bitcoin. K-Wave Media, nothing relevant with crypto or tech, is just a K-pop media company. This article includes a photo of the Bitcoin 2025 conference that took place in Vegas, where Eric and Donald Trump Jr. were talking about Bitcoin. There's more companies that are not listed here. That kind of gives you an idea. Like companies that have no relevancy to crypto or even tech, they're all of a sudden jumping into that Bitcoin treasury trend.
Oh
Trend, I
yeah.
mean.
It's
So
it's big business, and I think we'll keep seeing more of it happen. But
for
also
sure.
just shows that there's a need for infrastructure, there's a need for all of this, and this ties to the next story that BitGo, which they do a few
Yes.
things. I guess the best way to explain them is they are the plumbing behind crypto transaction and custody. So they have custody, they have secure storage of crypto, they have hot wallets, they have cold wallets, and then I believe they do like what they call this qualified custodian. The company is a regulated custodian holding it for like institutional clients like hedge funds and exchanges and banks. They have multi-signature wallets. I
Yep.
don't know if they were the first to do it, but they are there, and they have huge trading and settlement infrastructure. They also provide APIs and backend services for exchange wallets, and they're who power the crypto ATMs. They're a prime broker. They do compliance
Mm.
risk. They have staking. Like everything along the way is really using BitGo in some capacity. Um, so they are going public, and that public offering is still a little unclear what the price point will be and what's happening, but they've confidentially filed for that IPO. They surpassed 100 billion in custodial assets, and then they are really pushing just more and more for them to go and hit the market. I think outside of like regular crypto investing, the new hot wave is going to be investing in these companies.
I didn't know BitGo was the company that was behind all those Bitcoin ATMs. I know
Well, they're
better.
just the infrastructure. I don't know who like actually owns them, but they're the API that allows a lot of them to operate.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, I think not just including myself, but anyone who knows better about getting access to Bitcoin, I feel like ATMs usually cover high fees because you got to pay for the service, the equipment, the maintenance, you name it. So their markups are probably going to be higher. Usually, something that ATMs do that central exchanges do, like Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, you name it, is they usually have a slide. So if Bitcoin is worth 118 in some places, like you go to TradingView, you go to Social Market, it'll be 118. But if you go to Coinbase or even some of these ATMs, they'll actually, if you're trying to buy Bitcoin, they will value it like 2,000 more. So it's going to be marked up. So you're paying more for Bitcoin, more USD for Bitcoin in this case. So they got to make their money. Or I think it's just a fun experience to buy Bitcoin through an ATM and say, oh, I did it. But long term, if you're trying to buy Bitcoin, I would probably advise going to a central exchange because there's going to be less fees. Or even if you have like MoonPay on a self custody wallet like MetaMask or even Phantom Wallet, where you can buy Bitcoin through MoonPay. So, not financial advice, but I would just say be careful, do your own research as far as buying Bitcoin. just so you get more Bitcoin out of your buck.
Oh, 100%. My last thought on this is that
Yep.
it's gearing up Wall Street. If this is another successful IPO, circle this. It's going to give everybody the credibility to say, "Hey, I'm going to be able to go and IPO on the market, raise funds, and Wall Street's going to eat it up." So watching this, it's going to be important. I think it's going to blow up on the IPO days, just like Circle did. I think Circle hit 400% plus in the first like day or two of trading. I could see this hitting much higher because it's infrastructure, and depending on what the price per stock and all those like earn to ratios look like, it could be a really good stock in the end because they essentially just are the back end for every single exchange and wallet out there. And as more Bitcoin reserves happen, I guarantee they're going to have to go to places like BitGo to have those institutional storage spots.
Yeah, totally. That sounds really interesting. I think that people who were so skeptical of Bitcoin and crypto just a few years ago are all of a sudden embracing it and even reserving it and buying it to increase their company's value, which I think is amazing.
So I think that's it on that one. We've got one more topic about NFTs. You wanna take the lead on that one?
Yeah, totally. Just how the last thing I said was some people who were skeptical of Bitcoin a few years now are fully embracing it. I feel like something that was considered a boogeyman over the years was NFTs. Well, now all of a sudden they're trending. So while we were on Twitter, I was kind of just browsing, and there's this guy by the name of, or the handle Nathan Head Photo, or Nathan Head period Solana. I don't know if Solana has its own virtual machine or EVM or domain name service. I mean, like you can buy handles
Like
under the
the
Solana
ETH.
network. Yeah,
Ooh,
like
that's
the
a
ETH
good
one.
question.
That would be cool to watch. Or if anyone who has any thoughts, leave us in the comments. But anyways, this guy was kind of just looking and hyping up the NFT markets over the last week. So just 6 hours ago, this NFT project called ROG, a lot of people were making, fuck, what is it, like point 0.6 ETH. It's right around 15, $1,600, just moving across the network over the last few hours of recording this video. And then Moonbird sale, I've never even heard of this NFT project, but again, within like 30 minutes in this time frame here, thousands of dollars was being transacted between people that were buying and selling, and you name it. These NFTs are probably going to be marked up now because Ethereum is very appetizing. Rec guys, again, who even heard about this NFT project, but we're looking at one being 4.4 ETH. So that's like over $10,000 right there in that one single transaction. And NFTs going up again. So this is from CryptoPunks. This is probably one of the most popular NFTs right now, if not the most popular. There are only 4 hoodie punks until 1 million floor. So there's 4 hoodie punks here that are almost at a $1 million valuation. There's 8 total from what we're seeing in the screenshot, but half of them are almost reaching 1 million. So if you have a crypto punk with a gray hoodie, it's almost going to be worth $1 million evaluation, which I don't think that's common. I think this is only
I don't
possible
think
with
so.
CryptoPunks NFTs. Yeah. So the one thing that I want to talk about is how this guy was highlighting how all of these same hoodie punks were all transacted for just about $3 million total. So the network experienced about $3 million worth of transactions in just a few hours, or in the span of an hour, as of the screenshot here. But you can see here some addresses moving to other addresses. It looks like it's all going to the same address. So did one person just buy all of them? It's hard to tell from this screenshot. But I know one person bought a shit ton of CryptoPunks in this week, which I we'll leave that tweet here in the description below. I mean. But if we go to OpenSea, and this is their homepage with their very newly renovated website, which is very amazing. Pudgy Penguins, which is probably the most trending NFT project right now. CryptoPunks, they're just more like a treasury at this point, I would say, but people are actively using and transacting Pudgy Penguins. If we look at the activity board here, in as of recording of this video, just within the last day, we've seen, you know, Pudgy Penguins being transacted. I don't think I've seen this kind of volume since 2021. I know even like in the last few years where NFTs were considered dead, there was still some activity, but not at this capacity, not at this volume level. So yeah, I mean, NFTs are slightly coming back. A major portion of that, or what I believe seems to be a good signal of that, is Pudgy Penguins, because we saw companies like Coinbase, MoonPay, OpenSea, Gemini, Binance, you name it. These big crypto-based companies, all of them had their own Pudgy Penguin that was wearing gear and, the hat, the shirt of that brand, including MetaMask and Phantom Wallet, now that I remember. So these big companies were doing a lot of PR for them. And now we're seeing everyone buying Pudgy Penguins. So even in the last 40 seconds right now, 16 Ethereum, or about $60,000, was just purchased. So as a recording in real time, in just a minute ago, a Pudgy Penguin was transacted right now. Now, Pudgy Penguins have their own meme coin, which I think it was a smart move, because for a while, NFTs weren't as appetizing as they once were, but now it seems like we're getting back to 2021 levels. But they did come out with their own meme coin, and again, it's almost 5 cents, which is amazing. I'm probably gonna buy some more Pingu if I think about it. I've been holding Doodle meme coin for a long time now, ever since it came out, and it has for a while been almost at 2 cents. I think it's the lowest. Less than 0.002 was the value, and now it's like double that. I think the highest, the original all-time high, was about almost a cent on Doodle. I'm not seeing a lot of Doodle activity, so I think that's interesting. In fact, people are selling. If we look at this order book, many sellers than buyers. I think that's pretty much some of the things I wanted to highlight about NFTs. People are just actively buying. One thing you can look at is if you go to OpenSea, which I think is a very neat thing they've done. You look at top, you can see some of the most active, or rather some of the most popular and expensive NFTs collections. You can see them here in top. In trending, you can see what's actively being transacted, what people are buying right now in high volumes. And you can always select the time. So I highly recommend it if you're an NFT trader. I know there were so many back in the day, but if you're an NFT trader, this is something you may want to look into. Otherwise, to each their own, but I wouldn't want to miss what's happening with NFTs right now. But did you have any other things you wanted to share, Leon?
No, just everybody that's listening, the normal request, go to YouTube, leave a comment, like, subscribe. If you're on a podcast player, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It really helps. It's the best way to kind of show that we're trending on the podcast players.
So if you made it this far to the video, thank you so much for watching. Click that subscribe button if you want to subscribe. If you like this video, you can like it. If you dislike it, you can dislike it. Otherwise, we'll be catching you guys next week. This has been Social Ledger Report.